Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the podcast. I feel like it's been 10 years since we recorded together.
I think it's been since our gin afternoon.
I thought the same thing when I was actually thinking about recording today, and it wasn't. We had the sober one where I was like, a sober episode of Jams, Drink, Jams.
Oh
And then I was like,
yeah,
wait,
the
are you
sober
sober?
one. I forgot about the sober one. I still
Um,
am sober today. I am drinking a poppy, the ginger lime. I'm obsessed with these.
I have not purchased any of these poppies, but like people all over the internet are obsessed with them, and I keep telling myself I will, but I don't, I'm talking out of my ass right now. I don't even know if they're expensive. It
They
seems
are
like they're
expensive.
expensive. Okay, how much are they per like can?
They're like $2 and something.
Okay, so it's
No,
like a
they're more.
soda.
Yeah, they're like as much as
More.
a soda. But right now they're on sale. Well, because they have to be more, because right now they're on sale at Smith's for 3, 4, $5 or something.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always just see them at Harmon's. I don't know if I've seen them at my Smith's. And I always just think like it's basically like wasting money on a soda, so I just like haven't committed to it. Um, Yeah, I don't really know. I think I've tried one in that like Sleepy Girl mocktail or whatever that Lois made for
Mm,
us, but I didn't
hmm.
really, I don't know what else was in that mocktail, so I don't actually know what the poppy itself tastes like.
Yeah, I actually really hate soda. So I'm surprised I like these so much, but they're like really good for your stomach health and they have like prebiotics and probiotics don't work if you don't take prebiotics. So where I've been on antibiotics so much in the past year, I kind of just got addicted to them because they really help my stomach not hurt. And so I don't know, they're good though.
Hmm. Have you scanned them in your Yuka or Yucca app to
Oh
see
my God, I
their rating?
haven't. Let me do that right now. I'm scared.
Yeah,
What
you
if they're really
should.
bad?
Then I'll laugh my ass off.
That would be so sad.
Um, while she's doing that, I cut my hair, everybody, and I feel like I have aged 10 years because of it. I feel
Oh
like an
my.
official mom now, but it's okay because I feel like sometimes you just need to like cut your hair. At least
I
I feel that
never,
way.
ever have felt that way.
Interesting. Um, oh, there's another thing I was gonna say, but I kind of forgot. Oh, I was just gonna tell you guys that I ate a fuck ton of tacos before I started recording. And I'm on the taco train right now. And I think I could eat tacos for like every meal. Like, I don't know what it is. Tacos just always slap. So I feel very full and I regret that I ate so many tacos, but sometimes when the tacos are like extra good, you eat the extra tacos.
Where are they from, or did you make them?
We just made them and I just feel
Yeah,
like, I don't know, I wanted to tell everyone that I'm full on tacos.
I like that. Okay, so it's 58 over 100. I did get a good rating, but it does have one additive in it.
What is it?
Stevia.
Ah, that's what I figured was in it.
Yeah, dang. Well, I still really like it.
I'm sure in moderation it's fine for now
Yeah, I only drink one, maybe two a week. So it's not like
until
I'm drinking it
someone
every day.
posts something saying how terrible they are for you. I feel like you're fine.
Okay, so I don't know if you guys follow me on Instagram, but I'm having a severe problem right now. My car's infested with spiders. And Tony looked at it when he got home. He literally is like, I have no idea what to do. When he was in there, 7 spiders came out. I've probably had close to like 20 to 30 spiders come out today. So I definitely have a nest in there. And I am not okay with this situation.
Oh, I just got full body chills. I think it was on St. Patrick's Day when you told me about these spiders. Or no, it was
Is
sometime
that
this weekend.
Christina's? Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, you have a fucking like spider nest in your car, and you didn't believe me.
I am not okay. I'm not afraid of spiders. I just don't love them. But when they pop out of my rear view mirror and are falling on my lap in Smith's parking lot, I'm actually a little bit afraid of spiders. and I don't know what to do about the situation. Tony doesn't know what to do about the situation. I'm about ready to just return my car back to Toyota and just be like, I need a new one.
Is your car ceiling cloth?
Yeah,
You could probably just spray it with bug spray. And like that will seep through the like thing. My thing is I hate spiders. They are traumatizing to me. Anything like that in my car really stresses me out. But the picture you posted of them, they're creepy spiders. Like
I
they for
know.
sure came from your garage. Um, and I guarantee some mommy was in there and had a bunch of babies because like that those bitches like pop out like 100 spiders.
I know.
So
I
you got like
know.
you've killed like maybe a third of them, but like they're for sure there, and that's a lot. And I would be very scared.
You
Have you
guys, I
Googled it?
don't, yeah, Tony Chat GPT, I don't know how to say that plural or whatever, but Tony like did the chat GPT. I've had like people on my Instagram are invested in this story. That's why I keep posting about it. And so people have like sent me suggestions, which the peppermint suggestion was a good one because it's making them all come out. I just
Hmm.
wasn't expecting it to happen while I was driving. So that was really stressful. So like people have good suggestions on how to get it out, but there are also, I don't know how many are in there. I have no idea how many are in there.
Yeah, I mean, Google just basically has like the fogger things, so maybe you try that, but like your car's gonna be, oof.
I know. I'm disturbed by it. I really am disturbed by it. So
Ooh, Amazon has a spider repellent spray with peppermint oil and cedar wood. I wonder if you could just, it has like a squirt bottle. I wonder if you could just squirt it inside that
spray it.
hole.
Maybe that's a good idea because I did
But
do the peppermint oil, but
the problem
ugh.
with a repellent, I mean, you're weird like this, so you don't want to kill them, but like I would want them to be murdered
Oh
right
no, I
now.
want to kill them.
Oh, so the repellent, I feel like just is gonna make them come out, which is what your peppermint oil is doing. So I guess you could just put that and then let them all come out, but then who knows where the fuck they're gonna go in your
Exactly.
car. So
Exactly. Like, I don't think
I've
they're just gonna march two by two out the window.
the ants come marching one by one, hurrah, hurrah. Yeah,
I really don't know what to do.
you're gonna need like actual stuff to kill them.
I feel bad because Tony is actually very afraid of spiders. Like, he does not like
Mm.
spiders. And the second he got home, I was like, it's your job. You got to figure out what's going on. And he's like, why me? It's your car. And I was like, this is not my job. You are figuring it out. I've had enough. I am done.
Yeah, that's a boy job. Sorry, Tone.
Yeah, yeah. But anyways, that's all
Oof.
that's going on in my life. I'm just very stressed to drive my vehicle.
I have a couple of things I would like to discuss before we talk about our episode today. First thing, I don't know why the fuck my notes are always so weird. I don't know why I have this on my list and why I think it's important, but it's something that's irritating me. My first note literally just says blanding politician running for governor of Utah. The reason I want to talk about this is it is my high school boyfriend's dad.
Oh,
Um, and I think it's really funny because I follow obviously a lot of people from Blanding, still because I grew up there and like I know them. I follow them on social media and they're all like sharing about him like going to these rallies and like he's gonna be here on this day and like then they'll like post his like I don't know political campaigns and stuff and like I just have to say something.
okay.
I appreciate that this man is having a glow up from Blanding, Utah, but the way that his parents were such fucking assholes to me because I was not as LDS and I didn't come from an LDS family, they literally made me and my boyfriend break up because we were getting too serious and I had friends that like we'd posted dumb shit on MySpace and they didn't want him being around me. So I'm sorry, Phil Lyman, I don't endorse you for governor of Utah because Utah already has a stigma around being douchebags and you're not going to fix the issue. Yes, you might save children, which is part of your political campaign, and you're going to save them from social media nonsense, whatever it is. Haven't watched them, but you are not worthy. You're going to make Utah even more fucking LDS. and you're gonna be a douchebag to the Shelbys of the world, and I'm just irritated about it. So that's why it was on my list.
So he's running for the Utah, like the whole state governor?
Yeah,
Damn, gonna take Spencer Cox's place? Is that
I
who's the governor?
guess.
I don't even know.
I
I
think
don't
so.
follow politics.
People don't love Spencer Cox, apparently. And I think they're probably not gonna love Phil Lyman. But if this happens, I will die because it seems so weird that this
I've
would
got to
be who our
Google this
governor
guy.
is. Sure, he's a great guy, he's a nice guy, but like, are you worthy of governor? I don't know, bro.
Oh, interesting. That was not what I expected him to look like. Huh.
Yeah, so
Okay.
that's why that was on
Interesting.
my list. So it was something irritating me. This is
Okay.
something that I already know you're gonna have a strong opinion of, so I'm not gonna share that part of it until I get through what I want to talk about.
Okay.
But I recently did this thing with Henley and I wanted to share it so if anyone else has kids, like girls, they can go through this. But I heard somebody say that they did these goddess baths for their daughter. And they would basically like when they're having a hard day or they're feeling sick, they like amp up this like bath time thing. Like they're like, do you want me to make you a goddess bath? And you like get the candles and you get the bubble bath and you like make it this whole sanctuary cleansing space for them. And I heard that and I was like, okay, that's really cute. I kind of want to do that because I love baths. And then she also was saying that she does moon baths for her daughter, where when it's a
Hmm.
full moon, she'll do like the goddess bath, but then also when she got her period, she did like this moon bath for her, like this thing to help her, like this is your womanhood and like you're getting your moon is what she called it, and like all these things. And it was like this whole beautiful holistic thing. And I was like, okay, I'm like actually really into this. And then as her daughter has gotten older, she does it for like her daughter is grown and doesn't live with her, and she still comes over when she's having like a hard day and is like, Mom, will you make me a goddess bath? And like I kind of died over
Oh,
it. So I
that's so
did it for
sweet.
Henley and she absolutely loved it. Like she literally was like, Mom, that was the best bath I've ever had. Like she was obsessing over it. So I'm just sharing this tip for anyone that wants to try it. I'm gonna keep doing them. And now I'll tell you who the fuck said it because I know you have a strong opinion.
Oh
It
no.
was Jada Pinkett Smith on the Rachel Hollis podcast. And
Oh,
I know you hate her, but like some of the shit she
God.
was saying, like I respected her. I respected her.
Listen, this is the thing about her. I think she has multiple personality disorder because sometimes she seems like super chill and great, and other times it's like you are a total and complete asshole. So,
Yeah. No,
but that is cute.
I
I
think
do like that.
I do think that she has some whack stuff that she has done and says. But when she was sharing this and like some of the other things that like she taught Willow, I was like, is that her name, Willow?
Hmm.
Yeah. I was like, okay, like this is actually really beautiful. And like her belief in like spirituality and the universe and all these things, I was like, I can get on board with this version of her. But that's why I didn't want to tell you who told me it so that you'd listen to what I was telling you first.
Well, that's really sweet. And I bet Henley really did love that.
She did, and I want to look into more of the like moon bath thing and also like when they get their period, to like help that. Like she was talking about like this whole ritual about like your womanhood and all of these things. And I was like, okay, like this is gonna be happening in the next couple years. Like I
Yeah.
should probably start learning about this. But I like that I started the moon bath or the goddess bath now so that
Hmm.
it's not an extra weird thing that happens once she does get her period. It can kind of like
Hmm.
be like, we already do something like this, and she's not gonna be like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. That is really sweet.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know, it like made me really happy that she like believed in this like goddess bath thing, and hopefully she like continues to believe in it, but you never know.
Yeah. I think it's awesome.
Okay, the next item of business on my list is I really want to talk about these mothers these days that are like raising teenagers in this like hip era, and the moms that are like living through their child dressing just like them out in public. Like, I don't know if you
Mhm.
see it, but I was at the mall recently and there would be like this really cute high school girl. And I'd be like, oh, cute. But like the style is super fucking weird right now, right? Like the cargos
Mhm.
and like the things. And then I'll see a mom with like the exact same hair, the exact same outfit, basically, as their daughter, like at the mall with them. And like, I love that you're close with your kid, but like, you
That's
should
weird.
not be dressing so similar to them and looking so similar to them. Like, I get it, but like, can you find your own identity? It's really starting to irritate me because I'm seeing it a lot right now in Utah. And it's like, let them have their moment. These moms like can't let them like be hip by themselves. It's like, no, we need to look the same, be the same. And if you're hip, I'm hip. And it's like, no, I don't agree with it.
I think that people just have a really, really hard time with aging, which like I get, I understand, same. But if I had a teenage daughter, I would not like I can't even buy the clothes that are popular right now because I feel like I'm 13 to 16 again because it's what I've already worn and I feel so uncomfortable. And I used to love cargo pants, but like I can't do it as a 33-year-old. I just can't. So I don't get it.
To me, it's like I love seeing it come back and like seeing them like in their version of it. It's a lot more scandalous, this version, than ours was, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely looks better. Ours were not that quality. But like
Mm-hmm.
for me, it's exciting to watch this happen and like see how they're doing it. But I don't have the desire to jump back on the train fully like that. Like there's for sure gonna be some things where I'm like, hell yeah, I want to wear this again. But it's gonna be still like my version of it, not the hip new version of it. Like an example is when I was at American Eagle, there was this girl and she's wearing cargo shorts that are like super wide leg. Um, maybe like Vans or something, maybe Converses, I can't remember, like kind of like a high top sneaker. And her cargo shorts were rolled down, like they do the roll ones, and then she was wearing like
Oh
a
my
cami,
gosh.
like a crop top cami kind of thing. Her hair was down and curled, and that was it. And then her mom that was with her was wearing wide leg cargo pants, similar, almost the exact same sneakers, and then a t-shirt instead of a cami, but like basically her outfit looked the exact same. And then her hair was also curled. And they literally were, it was like the 45-year-old version and the 18-year-old version. And I was like,
Mm-mm, I
this
can't
is
get
just
behind
too
that.
much. Like if you yeah, like if you're gonna go out in public, especially, like please can you not try and be the exact same as them? So
Yeah.
I just really wanted to talk about how irritated I am with it. My sister was kind of offended when I said it. She's like, me and Ashlyn wear the same things all the time. I was like, yeah, maybe I'm talking about you, bro. But I think it's different when it comes to like athleisure outfits, you know, like if you're both walking around in leggings and a t-shirt or leggings and a crew neck, like it is what it is. When it's like an
Hmm.
outfit, a styled outfit, that to me is different. And I don't think I've seen Crystal wear like the same outfit as Ashlyn really. So I was just kind
Hmm.
of like, I mean, I get that you feel attacked, but like you still don't go as far. I mean, maybe you're on the line sometimes, but like relax. I'm talking about other people.
Yeah. I can't get behind it
But
either.
like my biggest thing with it really comes down to like I've heard so many people in my life like talk about how like their parents like took parts of their childhood and their teenage years by like trying to live through them or trying to like, I don't know, kind of like ruin their self-esteem and stuff, like wearing their clothes and trying to be just like them or hip and all these things and like not letting them have their moment. And I just want parents to give them more of their moment and
I
stop trying to be
agree.
twinsies.
I agree with that. Um, Before we move on to the topic, I remembered something else that I want to talk about. I just watched the new documentary about Nickelodeon.
That was next on my
And
list.
did you watch it?
No, but I knew you had. I think you posted about it and I saw that you'd posted about it and I was like, okay, that's I need to ask her what that was about. And then I randomly went on TikTok last night, which I haven't been on forever, and I saw a bunch of like real or TikTok, sorry, saw a bunch of
Hmm.
TikToks of stories about this, and I was like, holy shit, like this is what Taylor was talking about. I didn't realize this was coming out. I didn't know this was a thing. And then TikTok really like exploited it for me, and now I have to watch it. But you watched it, right? Is it a
Oh, it's
movie?
four
Is it what is it?
episodes. It's four episodes. Like they're like an hour and a half, I think. I'm telling you, both Tony and I watched it, and we were both so disturbed about the things that were talked about in it. So, major trigger warning if you do choose to watch it, because even I, who's not been through any sort of sexual assault, was extremely triggered. It is disgusting and it explains everything on why Amanda Bynes is the way that she is because this sick fuck Dan Schneider definitely was sleeping with her, definitely was making her give him massages when she was like 11 on set in front of all of these adults, and none of these adults said anything. The whole situation that happened to Drake Bell was so terrible. He could not even repeat the things that had happened to him. And it was so sad. And then it was showing like clips from like the shows that I grew up watching that I thought nothing of. And when they were showing the clips, both Tony and I were like, oh my gosh, like it is right in your face. Like there was one, if you watched all that, you probably remember like the pickle boy because he carried like the whole plate of pickles. And there was one that he was walking around sticking pickles in like holes in the wall, like straight up a glory hole. And like was sticking pickles in there. And then there would be a child on the other end grabbing the pickle with like both hands and like sucking on the pickle. And I was
Ew.
like, oh my God, I was watching this when I was like 9. It's so terrible. I think it definitely needs to be watched by everybody because I mean, I've already talked about it with my conspiracy theories. Hollywood is a really fucked up place. Like it is what it is. It shouldn't be, it is what it is, but it is. Like it's like an open secret how horrible Hollywood is. But it was next level. And the fact that both of these grown men who did these things are still working with children in Hollywood is disgusting. The guy that brutally raped Drake Bell only got 16 months in prison. And then right when he got out of prison, immediately went to work for the Disney Channel. Like,
Wow.
it's so terrible. It's so terrible. So I think everyone needs to watch it. It's on Max, but go into it knowing it's not an easy watch.
Are all the episodes out or do you have to like wait?
No, they're all out.
Okay. Wally, I was just telling Wally about it and I was like, we have to watch this. But we're getting caught up on Love is Blind right now because
Mhm.
it's been like such a topic right now that I was like, I gotta watch this season. I need to know. And then my hairstylist was weird that I called her hairstylist. What up, Andrea? Apparently you're a hairstylist today. Normally I say hairdresser. Um she was talking to me about it and I was like, okay, I've seen a ton of it. I feel like I already know parts of it. I need to just watch it at this point. So I did. Well, Wally and I started watching it actually on St. Patrick's Day after the party. We had a really fun St. Patrick's Day brunch, everybody, and we learned how to make sourdough. And I was really fucking drunk when I came home. And we basically, like, I remember parts of it, but I also am like, wow, now that I reflect back, like, I was pretty fucked up by the time I got home. So, we started binge watching Love is Blind, and I need to finish that before I can move on. But I want to watch this show.
It really is. I have so much sympathy for, especially Amanda Bynes. She was not on the documentary, but they talked a lot about her, and I really there. There was moments of it. All I could do was just like cry because it was so. Her parents just let her go live with this grown man. Her parents were just like, "Yeah, go ahead, like go live with him," and he like completely manipulated her parents. Like the whole thing is just so fucked up. It really is.
I mean, I'm excited to watch it because like things like this are like really intriguing to me in like a sad way.
Hmm.
Because Hollywood is so messed up and also like the power and manipulation that people use, like I know firsthand, it's really fucking shitty. And to know that it's happening to like these young children and that these parents like go through it too, it's like so bad. I did see on TikTok, someone was saying something about like Amanda Bynes had like a secret or a second Twitter account or something where she was basically blasting all of this stuff and like everyone just thought she was crazy. But the TikTok was like showing all of these, what are they called? Tweets that she had been posting about it. And I
Hmm.
was like, oh my
Mm.
God. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm like really pumped in a sad way to see it because it's just like I'm curious and sad and I want to know the story.
Yeah. And the last thing I'll say about it is I wish that people who go through these traumatic things will get therapy because what happened to Drake Bell was so horrible and sad, but he continued that cycle of abuse because he got caught like messaging a minor and like trying to hook up with like a 13-year-old. And And it's so sad because after everything happened, because he was like a John Doe until this documentary came out. Like he filed a huge lawsuit. He's how this guy got the 16 months in prison. Nobody knew it was him. And this documentary is like the first time he's coming out and saying, like, this was me, this is what happened to me. And once like certain people in the Nickelodeon industry knew that it was him, and they just completely like kind of just dropped him and didn't help him after this traumatic thing happened. And so he never got help for it. So then he continued this cycle of abuse and created this trauma in somebody else. So it was like so hard because I felt so sad and so bad for him. But then I was like, you did this to somebody else too. You just got caught before it could go further. So it's like, I wish that people, when they go through these traumatic things, especially as children, I wish that they had people that would be in their corner and help them, because I hate that he did this to somebody else. Like, I hate that so much. And when it dropped that at the very end, I was like, I spent the last hour crying for this dude. And then he was like, got caught messaging a minor. Like, what the hell? So it's just awful all around.
I think that's what's really hard and terrible for us all to understand is like a lot of these people that are doing it to our generation is what I would call them. And now it's becoming like a thing, like a movement, I guess I would say, where people are actually speaking out about it and they're starting to get some justice and like things are being uncovered. That's all fine and dandy. The problem for me, it goes so far back. Like if you watch all these shows from back in the day, like the incest and the abuse and the rape and all these things, like this has been cycles of generational trauma and abuse for so long. And like it's so easy to just like blame that one person. And then you have to like stop and be like, holy shit, like who knows what happened to this person, you know? So it's like I hate that I feel that way, where it's like also like I feel a little bit sad for some people because it's like I know that this wasn't, it didn't just start with you probably. Like it's been
Yeah.
happening for a very long time. And it just sucks that it takes forever and ever for these patterns to like get broken or highlighted. And then like how messed up it really just makes generations for like it's just this cycle. And it's like I'm happy it's starting to like kind of be corrected, but it's like these are the fears I have for like Henley's generation and stuff, you know, because it's like although some people are getting help, like most people don't, and it's just been happening. Like it was happening because their parents did it to them or whatever, you know, because their parents did it to them. And it's like, it just goes on.
Yeah, it really does. It really does. And it's just, it was really a hard watch. And I mean, I finished it 2 nights ago and I'm still like disturbed by it. Like I think about it and I'm like, oh my God, that makes me so sick.
Yeah, things like that are a lot. I think that was a huge reason why I stopped wanting to do like family law is like there was a lot of abuse that would be uncovered, either with the children or like husbands to their wives, especially here in Utah. Like that's just like kind of a thing that happens a lot. And it was so sickening. And then like once I had Henley, I was like I didn't have like I couldn't look at her with like an innocent brain. Like I'd be at home rocking her thinking about the terrible thing that a client did to their infant, you know, and it's like just holding her, those thoughts were there. And I was like, I gotta get out of this because it's now making her innocence leave, and I can't look at her without thinking about bad stuff. And it was like, it's just so much.
Yeah, yeah,
People
I
are
can totally
sick.
understand
People
that.
are
They
just so
are.
sick.
They really are.
Well,
Anyways,
that
on
was
that note.
that was the last thing I had on my thing that I wanted to talk about. So I love that you also wanted, I knew you would, because I was like, do you have a list? And you didn't bring it up. And I was like, I know she's gonna want to talk about this. So
Yeah, that's how much
um
I want to forget about it, but also not want to forget about it.
disassociation. Okay, well, now that we talked about super sad, terrible things, we wanted to talk about the Enneagram today. So we talked about this a lot when we first started our podcast, I would say. I don't think we ever officially did an episode on it. We wanted to. We have had the Enneagram test linked on our link tree literally since we started the podcast because we're so obsessed with Enneagrams. And I think we kind of just knew and learned so much about it that we kind of stopped talking about it. So that's what we're talking about today is the Enneagram. And if you don't know what that is, it's basically a personality type, I guess I would say. Like, I don't know. Yeah, it's like it's a personality type. So if you've heard of like a disc profile or all these other like random things. I don't even remember what they're all called. This is the one that I believe in the most, I would say.
Yeah, I've taken a lot of personality tests. I love personality tests. I think that's part of an Enneagram 7, which I am, but I've taken a lot of them. This is most like the Myers-Briggs test, if you've taken that, but I think it's more detailed and I think it's more accurate than the Myers-Briggs.
Yeah, so the Enneagram I would say too is also it's a lot easier to understand. Like it's not complicated like a lot of these tests are. Like when you take a personality test, like it goes so deep. And this one is truly, at least to me, really easy to understand what it's talking about. And I haven't really met anyone that's taken their personality test for the Enneagram and been like, oh, this doesn't seem like me. What I did write down though about what the Enneagram is basically it's a personality type that dates back to 1916 and it was used back then as a spiritual symbol. I don't think it's used spiritually necessarily in like at least the United States for sure. I think there's probably ties, but I would say probably in Europe and things like that, it could be considered more of like a spiritual type thing. Still, but it's also so basically it's displayed as a circle. So there are 9 different types, and you would basically put the numbers on a circle, like around the circle, and each number connects in a triangle to other numbers. And those other types are also a type that you can have personality traits from, depending on which one it is. So, for example, there's an Enneagram 1, which is what I am, and your triangle numbers are numbers that you go to when you're in a like a stressful state or a growth state. So my stress numbers on like the triangle from the circle, if you put a triangle from the number 1, it goes to a 4. And then the other part of my triangle goes to a 7, which is my growth. So you have personality types from each of those numbers that are in your triangle. And then on top of your triangle and your stress and growth number, you also have an Enneagram wing number, which is the number next to your number on the circle. So I'm a 1. If you looked at it on a circle, there's a 9 next to the 1 and also a 2 next to the 1 because that completes the circle. And you have a wing that you are more defaulted to. So you're like stronger on that side. So I don't think I for sure know which one I'm stronger on. I feel like I kind of play in the middle of the 9 and the 2, but a lot of people can say like, oh yeah, I'm way more a 3 or I'm way more a wing, whatever, because they like that one stands out really strong. So that's like the really in-depth, quick and dirty version of like the Enneagram, I would say.
I feel like you and I are so like our regular number because feel like I hardly ever play into my wings. And I feel like you hardly ever play into your wings, especially a 9. I would say, if anything, you definitely play into a 2 more.
Yeah, same.
But I feel like you and I are so like dead set on our numbers. But like Tony, for example, he's taken the test multiple times, and every time he's come back as a 1. And that would make his wing 9. And he
Yeah.
definitely plays in his regular life. In work, yes, he's 100% through and through a 1. But in his regular life, he is 100% a 9. So he like plays so heavily on that wing. But I don't. I'm not anything like a 6 or an 8. I would. Oh, I'm just kidding.
One thing I would say too is like some people do have a stronger wing presence. So I think it just really depends. I think it kind of ties into their personality a little bit more. Like, so with the Enneagram, you you don't change numbers. Like once you are a number, you are that number. Like it's not possible for you to really like change numbers, but your Enneagram starts as early as like birth. So it depends on like the situation, the environment that you are in as a very small child. And that's what kind of like, and maybe this is why they made it like was a spiritual symbol, is because it starts so young. Like I read this book like early on in learning about Enneagram, and I can't remember it, but I'll make sure I like find it when we post the episode. And it was talking about like babies and the state of like the hospital room when they are born. Like, is it frantic? Is it stressful? All of these things, that type of energy is what helps develop that person's Enneagram type. So if it was that way, the baby might have a more stressful and anxiety number. So it can start so early, but it also can mean that like their wing is heavier if that number next to them is an anxiety number or something like that. So like maybe they don't always have it. So I think that's probably why his wing 9 is like so intense, because it's
Hmm.
for sure fucking there.
Yeah.
Um but yeah, I don't know, it's really hard to just sit and like talk about it if people don't know about it. But to me, I find it so beneficial and interesting. Like when we first learned about it, I think I learned about it because of Rachel Hollis, and maybe that's when you did too.
Yeah.
She talked about it in Girl Wash Your Face, which is like still to this day like a Bible book for me. Like I learned so much and grew so much from that book. And like probably now going back and listening to it, it wouldn't resonate the same, but I read it like 4 different times. Like it was a book that
Hmm.
like really transformed my growth journey. And she talked about enneagrams a lot, and I was like obsessed with her and everything that she was saying. And I was like, I want to know what enneagram I am. So then I like learned about it and became immediately obsessed with the enneagram.
I feel the same way. I also feel like if I was to reread Girl Wash Your Face, it wouldn't resonate as much as it did. I feel like my new Bible book is that Glow in the Fucking Dark book because I really enjoyed that. But anyways, that was a total side note. But yeah, I think that's how we both got into it is we took the test and we started following like all the Instagram accounts, and literally every single person in my life, I have them take the test. All my coworkers, my sisters have taken it, my mom has taken it, Tony's taken it, like anybody that I'm really close to, I need to know what their Enneagram number is because that helps me just know like why they are the way they are, how to communicate with them, what they could be like if they are like angry, what their love language is, even sometimes the Enneagram can help with. Like it helps with so much.
Yeah, and I think that's why I really became obsessed. Like when I found out what number I was, like I'm reading about it and I'm like, oh my God, it felt like almost like a horoscope reading for me, like where it was
Mm-hmm.
like talking so deep about who I am as a person and things I didn't know how to explain about myself or my personality or why I was the way that I was. And so that was like super eye-opening for me and like kind of glorifying because it was like, okay, like this is who I am. And like now I can explain to people why I react the way that I react or why I do things the way that I do them. Because sometimes people just think like, I mean, my number is like considered a perfectionist type number, but like I'm not out here trying to be a perfectionist. It's not something I'm trying to do because I'm high and mighty. It's like, it's just my personality type. And I had no way of helping people understand or get me until I like was able to read about it and be like, okay, well, I'm an Enneagram 1. Like, and then they read it and they're like, oh yeah, this is you. Like, so I also love to know everyone's numbers. I used to have a note in my phone. I think I stopped because maybe I just like stopped pushing the Enneagram so much, but I used to have a note on my phone of like all the people I knew and their numbers, or maybe I just remembered their numbers and I didn't care anymore. But I used to also make my employees, like anyone that reported to me, I had to know their Enneagram. And when I was hiring for um my assistant at my last job, I made the 2 top candidates take the test because I wanted to know what Enneagram type they were so that I knew what kind of worker they would be and also how we would get along. So the Enneagram not only tells you about yourself, but it also tells you like what numbers can get along with each other or how to deal with numbers. Like I know for sure there's certain numbers where like I just don't want to fuck with them. I don't want to deal with them and our numbers like kind of clash. So to me,
Mm-hmm.
that's like one of the things that was really helpful. But then also understanding Wally's number was just like so eye-opening for our relationship. Like it made me stop being so angry with him about so many things because then I realized like this is part of his personality. And so how can I help him with this, knowing that rather than being like, why the fuck can't you do this?
I feel like it's helped you and I a lot too, because I feel like sometimes my choices or my decisions don't make sense to you. And there's definitely been times that you've been like communicating with me and you'll be like, I know this isn't because you're an Enneagram 7. So I feel
Yeah.
like it's like helped us a lot. Like, not that I feel like we ever will fight, but I think it's helped in some moments, like not get into like an argument or a conflict because we just understand like, this is
Yeah.
just how it is. Like sometimes you can't help the things.
Well, I think it gives you a place of having a conversation with somebody with an understanding rather than like making them think that you're pointing a finger at them about something. So like for like an example that I could give you guys would be like when Taylor creates a content for our podcast page. Like my Enneagram number is very like OCD, ducks in a row, everything needs to be aligned. And like Taylor's is like very sporadic and fun. And like she doesn't pay as much attention to those details. My brain only sees details. And so when she does it, I'll be like, wow, that really didn't irritate her that this was there, like weird things like that. But if I came to her and I was just like, you can't post things because you do this, in my mind, I can also be like, okay, well, this is a 7. It's not that she's doing it because she doesn't care. It's that that's like her brain doesn't see these things. So then I can approach you and say something like, I know you do this because you're a 7. I personally like can't handle it. Can we fix this? Or something like that. And then it takes away that like defensiveness that you might be like receiving my information with, because you're like, oh, she gets that this is not me, like in a bad way. It's just, this is my personality type. And so it takes away like a threat, I guess I would say, when you like meet people by understanding who they are.
I totally agree with that.
One of the other things I wanted to talk about, aside from like how much it helps like just regular everyday life by understanding yourself and your personality, one of the things that I think is really interesting about your Enneagram number 2 is there are 3 different areas that 3 numbers fall into. So there's like a head, a heart, and your gut. And that's where like people feel stress, anxiety, or like where their numbers like kind of lie. And so my number is a gut number. So 8, 9s, and 1s, they deal with everything like by their gut. So like if I'm feeling really stressed or all of these things, like I will notice in my gut if I'm having intuition or I have like something where I'm like really feeling really strong about something, I feel it from my gut. Like I'm like, I just know this to my core. But then there's the heart ones, and those numbers are 2, 3, and 4. Oh wait, let me back up. With the head or the gut people, we desire inner control, and that's part of like our gut. Like, so we're like really focused on having control with ourselves and those types of things. The heart people, the 2, 3, and 4, they are really focused and pay a ton of attention to outward control. So they're always focused on like, how was I perceived? What does this person think about me? And like, if you know any Enneagram 3s who like, they are all about performance and like wanting people to validate all the things that they're doing, that makes sense that they're in the heart. I think they call it a triad. Like, I think that it's a gut triad, heart triad, and whatever. But yeah, so they're like heavily focused on like that outward control and like how they're perceived and all of those things, which I think is interesting for a 4, because 4s are
Yeah.
actually like, I'm gonna I'm gonna tell you guys all about like each number because I have a list of them, but it's really weird to me for a 4 that that's like something. But
I
also
agree. Yeah.
I just sent you a thing about Megan Fox, and she's a 4, and I don't know if you watched it yet. You should watch it because she talks about how she learned why she's a 4. And now that I say this out loud, it has something to do with like outward, like receiving recognition from people.
Yeah, she actually was just on the Call Her Daddy podcast, which I'm not a huge fan of that podcast, but I'm a huge fan of Megan Fox. And she talked about the Enneagram and why she's a 4. And I was like, that makes sense, especially for the person that I know is a 4 in my life as well. Like that makes a
Yeah.
lot of sense. So
Same.
yeah.
Yeah. And then the head triad is 5, 6, and 7. So that would be you.
Mhm.
And this part was really wild to me because I've never actually like looked into what that really means about them. Like I knew that they had a gut, head, or heart like presence, but I didn't understand like what they all meant. And this head one had like way more descriptions. And it basically was saying that they're all about like analyzing things. They're very focused on safety. They really want to predict outcomes and futures and things going on, and they crave having security and safety. And I was like, holy shit. Like again,
Yeah, that's me. Yeah.
another thing where I was like, Taylor's a 7. Like this makes so much sense. All of her anxiety and her like thinking about these future things that she wants to like have control or predict or like understand that are like future things that haven't even happened because she needs like safety and security. I was like, holy crap. Like,
Mhm.
so it's just like, those are the types of things. And I don't know if other people feel this way about the Enneagram or this personality type thing, but to me, it just validates the things that we're feeling, like the things that go on with us that we feel like people don't get. Like,
Mhm.
people probably don't get why you have so much anxiety, you know, but like you can look at this enneagram stuff and be like, ah, this makes so much sense based off my number, and find like logic and reason and validation that like the outside world doesn't really give people very often.
Yeah, it's also knowing my Enneagram. My therapist actually did not know about Enneagrams, and I told him about it.
They don't very often.
Yeah,
Like
he had
mine
no
didn't
idea.
either.
Yeah, and he was shocked. He's like, this is going to help so many patients. And I was like, I know, that's why I'm going to be a therapist in the future. But
Yeah.
he was shocked by it because it's helped me so much understand my trauma that's come up and like why I have not remembered certain things and why like I fought in this instance, but I flew in this instance when it came to the trauma. So just like understanding my personality. So I would say you and I understand our personalities very deeply at this point. It's
Mhm.
really helped me in my therapy journey so much with just how I process and understand things that happen.
I think it's like also it's so funny that you say that though, back up to your therapist, because I would talk very heavily about my Enneagram type to my therapist and she just never fucking got it. Like she'd be like, I don't know much about this Enneagram stuff, blah blah blah. Like it's not something that we like were taught in like our teachings XYZ. And then like towards the end of our time together, her clinic had just started learning about enneagrams and teaching them
Mhm.
all about it, and she was like, I just learned about enneagram ones, and she was like, you're totally an enneagram one, and I was like, fucking finally, bitch, like,
But she should have
whoa.
done her own due diligence too once you started bringing it up.
I
But
mean,
oh
she
well,
wasn't the
that's
best
fine.
therapist, let's be honest. um Still love you though. um
Love your toes.
ugh. Back to what I was going to say, which hopefully I can remember my train of thought. I'm trying to like channel it all right now because I got a bit heated talking about my therapist. What were you saying? Fuck, thoughts completely
Therapists weren't
gone.
really taught about it.
No, you said something. Oh, this is what I was gonna say. So I was talking earlier about like how your number can go to a stress place or a growth place. Like when I'm in like a relaxed setting and I know I can let loose, like I'm immediately a Taylor. Like I moved to a 7 and I'm ready to like party all the time. Like I have the best time. But it's really helpful for me now that I've understood my personality, especially is like I can see when I'm in my stress place. And I was just telling Taylor before we started, like I'm in my Enneagram 4 right now. I'm in my stress place. I'm not like my best version of myself. And it's nice that I can recognize that and see that I'm in this state and know like this is where I'm at, and it can help me like get myself back to like my normal healthy self, you know? So like I think that it kind of just gives you that extra logic, I guess I would say, or self-awareness. Once you really start to understand your personality and like self-reflect, you can be like, oh shit, I'm in my stress zone right now. Like I gotta get my shit together. I gotta calm myself down. I gotta get back to like my good and healthy me. I don't know. For me, it's helpful for me to like put myself in categories, I guess, similar with like a habit or goals. Like it's helpful for me to break them down into different areas so I can, I don't know, attack them.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I feel like, especially where like there's so many accounts on Instagram that you can
Oh
follow
yeah.
that share so much good information. And when I'm in my stress state or in my happy state, like you can find like lists of things that you can do, like ideas of things that make you feel better. And I think that that's really, really helpful. And I just had a realization that the reason why you and I vacation so well together is because we're both sevens on
Sevens.
vacation
Yeah.
and it makes it like so fun. And I think that's why you and I can vacation like so well together because we're kind of like the same person.
Yeah, we're easy breezy. Beautiful
Yeah.
cover girl.
Interesting that I never made that connection before, but
What are your numbers for stress and growth? So your main number is a 7.
I actually am going to be completely honest. I don't know. I didn't even know. I'm going to look right now. I
I was
didn't
just gonna say,
even
Google it.
Yeah, I didn't even, oh my gosh, my Google won't pull up. I'll just do it on my phone. I completely forgot about that triangle, the triad thing, whatever it's
Really?
called. I don't know why, because I think I identify so much with a 7. And when I'm in a stressed place, I still fit in that 7 category, like of a, because you can have like,
Oh, you this makes so much sense for you. I found it.
what is it?
Um, so you're a 7. When you're in a stress state, you go to an Enneagram 1, which like Enneagram 1s have some really unhealthy traits. This is another cool thing about your number.
Huh.
Once you like learn about it, you can learn like about who you are when you're angry and who you are when you're unhealthy in your number and so many things. And number 1s are crazy as one. So that makes sense when you're in stress. And then your growth number is 5, which is so interesting.
Interesting. Yeah,
Fives are
I'm
kind
gonna
of
have
boring.
to. I am boring when I'm in a girl state. Look at me these past like 3 months. I've been in a
Yeah.
growth state and I've been boring as fuck.
Yeah. I mean, my sister is a 5 and they're all about like knowledge and learning and kind of retreating, which is so interesting that you would go to a 5 when you're in stress. It seems like you would go to a 5 in or a 5 in growth. It seems like you'd go there in stress because 5s like to be
Yeah.
alone. And like when you're really in it, you like kind of retract from people, but so do I when I'm a 1. So it also
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to research that more. I know I did when we first started getting into the Enneagram, and then I just kind of forgot about it because I
Yeah.
feel like I identify more with when I'm in a stress state or an unhealthy state. I'm still in that 7 state in the
Mhm.
unhealthy version of the 7.
Yeah.
So I guess I just kind of forgot that like you actually go to a different number.
Yeah, and like I was saying, like Enneagram ones, when we have like when we're in a like stress or bad place, like we have some pretty toxic and terrible things. Um, but I notice I have more of those than the Enneagram fours. Um, but fours are more like emotional, reactive, anxiety, those types of things, and I that definitely kicks up for me. And so, but like most of my stress things are like the bad parts of an Enneagram 1. Like
Mhm.
I fucking hate people, I'm irritable, I'm resentful, like so many terrible things.
I feel like I love being an Enneagram 7. It's kind of like a Leo for me. Like I just love it
Yeah.
and I get excited about it. But also Enneagram 7s, like when they're at unhealthy 7, they're not the best. Like your anxiety's really, really high and awful. You make really stupid decisions without thinking about them.
Yeah, you're
And
not
it just,
focused.
yes, all over the place. It's like ADHD on crack. Like I love a 7, but I hate a 7 in an unhealthy place.
What I was gonna say too is like you had said, like, I kind of forgot like about these things. I think the Enneagram blew up so much, and this is just my perspective, but like I think that we stopped consuming it the way that we were because so
Hmm.
many social media accounts came out with like they post about your number now, and you can learn like the quick information on social media, and you didn't have to get these different apps or go read this book or go on the websites and learn more about your number. These Instagram posts would like share so much, and they have so many like exciting things about your number all the time that they're posting that we kind of started to just consume those and only focused on like those quick blips of information that
Hmm.
we kind of forgot the roots of
Yeah.
the Enneagram, which is fine. But it also made me, when I was like getting ready for this episode, be like, damn, I haven't brushed up on this in a bit because I've just been quick blipping it on Instagram.
Hmm. Yeah, it's so true.
But yeah, we talk about, I think you guys have for sure, if you listen for a while, hear us talk about our Enneagram numbers all the time. It'll be like, yeah, because I'm a 1, or yeah, it's totally because you're a 7. Like, this is what we're referencing all the time. We still will keep the link tree on our links in our Instagram. You guys should definitely take the test and learn about it because it's so exciting. And like if you do, please tell us your number, like send us a DM and tell us your number because I just like would love to know. And I also want to read to you guys the little like basics about each number, like a description of who they are. Probably should have done that forever ago, but I kind of got carried away. Okay. So these are like just really quick definitions for each number. And like we've said, like this goes so deep, but like it's really easy to understand. A type 1 is principled, purposeful, self-controlled, and a perfectionist. That's me. A type 2 is generous, Demonstrative, people-pleasing, and possessive. Number twos are also considered the helper. I'll share what their like actual title. Number one is the reformer. We're like really into like justice and equality and all these things. Probably why I'm a closet feminist. And number two, they're called the helper. Number three, they're the achiever, and they are adaptable, excelling, driven, and image conscious, like totally. If you know any threes, you get it. The four is called the individualist. Totally Megan Fox. Now that I just said that, she
Mhm.
wants to be an individual and not anyone else. They are expressive, dramatic, self-absorbed, and temperamental.
Hey, but you need to listen to this podcast episode.
Yeah.
I'll just say that.
Also, I will say like none of the numbers are bad. Like not even though like
No.
I'm being a bit critical of some of them, none of them are bad. They all have so many good qualities. So, like if you see your
Mhm.
number and you read that I said dramatic, self-absorbed, those types of things, those are just traits that they can be into as their number. They're not just self-absorbed. So don't think I'm like just saying they're bad. Type five, they are the investigator. Um, they're perceptive, innovative, secretive, and isolated. Number six, they are the loyalist. They are engaging, responsible, anxious, and suspicious. That just made me think of, I don't know why Henley does it. Maybe it's like a video. She always goes, don't be suspicious, don't be
It
suspicious.
is. It's a
I don't know.
TikTok.
I don't know where it comes from, but that just made me think of it. The seven is called the enthusiast, and they're spontaneous, versatile, acquisitive, and scattered.
That's me.
Silly. Number eight is the challenger. They are self-confident, decisive, willful, and confrontational. Totally. My old boss was an eight, and my old boss at my new job was an eight. The one that got fired, he was an eight, and they were both so confrontational. It was so annoying. Number nines, they are the peacemaker, and they are receptive, reassuring, complacent, and resigned. And they're also considered a mediator. They really like to like the peacemaker. They really want to like get in the middle of something and like calm the peace or like calm the chaos to make it peace. Like they want to mediate the situation and get the chaos out of the way. They hate trauma.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that.
So yeah, I don't really have, oh wait, I do have a couple other things I wanted to say. Um, you can test wrong when you're taking your Enneagram test if you are not very self-aware, right? Like in that moment when you're testing. So some people have tested wrong because of where they were at, and they actually ended up being like a different number. I have a sister that thinks she's a one. And I know for a fact she is not a one. She's probably an eight. Um, But like, so I think that if you're not like in a super self-aware state when you take your test, you might test like how you would like to be or what you think you are. But like, so that's why like when you're taking your test, make sure that you're like really being true and honest with like who you are and how you show up and not like how you wish you were showing up or like what you wish you did.
I want to just continue with that thought a little bit. Please be honest when you're taking it. Like as Shelby said, all the numbers have really great qualities. It does you no favors to lie about it just so you show up as a different number.
Yeah.
Like make sure that you're being honest. Like a silly story, when Tony and I were taking the Harry Potter like houses test to figure out what houses we were in, which it's silly and dumb. Like it doesn't even matter, you know. But as he's taking it, he's like, he really wanted to be a Slytherin, and he took it, and he was a Hufflepuff, and he was like, I'm gonna take it again. And then he was reading I was like, what do you think a Slytherin would answer with this? So don't go into your test going in and being like, okay, I want to be this number. What do I think this number would answer? Like they all have good qualities. Please be honest when you're taking the test.
I just have to say, I did the exact same thing when I tested and was a Hufflepuff. Like, I was like, no, I'm a fucking Slytherin. I'm a
Oh my
cold-hearted bitch.
gosh.
I am
You guys
evil.
are so weird.
I am a Slytherin. And I tested as a Hufflepuff and I would not accept it. And I tried to test again like 3 different times and I still never became a Slytherin. So feel you, Tony, on that one.
Well, Ravenclaw life forever. I was honest and I was a Ravenclaw.
I mean, it makes sense that as Enneagram ones, we would be Hufflepuffs too. But yeah, I would probably not look too much into the numbers until you take your test. And then once you take your test, go read about your number, see if it resonates with you. The other thing I would add, like as you dive into this journey, if you choose to, you'll probably get a bit fixated on it like we did. And
Mhm.
um try not to guess people's type or assume what type they are without like having them take the test. So like you might have in your mind, like as you've done your research, like, oh my God, they're totally a 4 or they're totally a this. And then you start treating them as that number because you think you know all this stuff, or you're trying to like type them and it can like come across pretty douchey, or you start treating them in ways that aren't good for them because you don't actually know their number. So just like look out for that, because once you learn about these things, because it like I don't know, this shit's like Bible to me. Like you can't talk me out of this being truth. Like I read these things and I can like read people that I know and I'm like, holy shit, like this is them. So like I don't know. Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say. I don't want my TED talk to continue. But then the last thing I would say is like learning about your personality type truly is one of the best things that I think you can do for yourself, especially if you're on a self-development journey or you aren't on a self-development journey and you wish that you were, but it's like so hard to start. This is the biggest way that you could start working on
Mhm.
yourself and understanding yourself, because self-development is all about you. And the more that you can understand yourself, the more you're going to be able to handle situations or deal with the challenges that life throws you by just understanding more about yourself and how you handle things and what you do when you're angry and what you do when you're in a stressful place or whatever, or how to handle relationships or your spouse or your boss. Like it truly can impact your life in so many good ways. And I hope that us talking to you guys a little bit about it makes you want to go learn about it, because it's dope as fuck.
I
That's it.
totally agree. I
That's all I
love it.
got.
That's all I've got too.
Well,
I
I have
for
an asking for a friend.
Oh, okay.
What do you have? What were you gonna say?
Well, I just forgot to tell you before we started recording, I got the email earlier about the code for the microdosing. So I
Oh.
don't really know. It's a link that you have to click on, and then as you're checking out, you type in my name. I don't really know how to add things to the link tree, so I'm going to send it to Shelby because she's really good at that. So for the microdosing, I'm going to also make an Instagram story if you have any questions. But yeah, that will be in our link tree as well.
That's very exciting. You didn't tell me about this, and I
Yeah.
saw it on socials and I was like, look at her go.
I
I like it.
know. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, I have been asking for a friend and it comes from me. And I was gonna do it
Okay.
at the beginning of the episode, but I was like, oh wait, I'll just ask at the end like we always do. Duh, idiot. Okay. Hashtag asking for a friend. And you have to answer first because it's mine. So
Okay.
don't think I'm answering
I'm
my own question.
scared. Okay.
Hashtag asking for a friend. Is it a problem, or am I being judged for wearing a red love sweater that I technically made for Valentine's Day, but I feel like I'm allowed to wear it not just at Valentine's? Hashtag asking for a friend.
I mean, I think it's fine because I have like a Halloween tattoo that never goes away, and I wear Halloween clothes all the time, so I don't see anything wrong with it.
In my mind, people wear things that say love all the time. So like it doesn't technically just mean that it's Valentine's, but I know I made it for Valentine's and it's red. So I was like, wait, are people like,
I
why are you wearing this still? It's St. Patrick's Day.
I think that that's your Enneagram 1 showing. I wear red all the time. My next nails will probably be red.
But will they say love with a heart?
Maybe it depends on how I feel next week when I go in.
This is definitely an Enneagram 1 thing because I've like thought it a little bit myself, but my sister did say this weekend when she was in town, she said, oh, very Valentine's today. And I was like, fuck, is this just Valentine's?
I wouldn't say that it's just Valentine's because I think red's a nice color. You can wear red wherever you want. And it just says love. It's not like Happy Valentine's Day. It's like me wearing a skeleton shirt. I wear those all the time.
That's true.
Do you
Yeah,
think
I don't
that's
know.
too
I'm just
Halloweeny?
like,
Is it out of season for a skeleton shirt?
I mean, I wore my Let's Go Girls sweater that has like skeletons on it that you got me for your wedding. I wore it sometime this winter. I do have a hard time wearing it when it's not close to Halloween though, because it's skeletons, but I think that's just more of my enneagram self. People, I think, probably wear skeletons that like skeletons all the time, but I don't know. I'm not
I
judging you
don't
for these
see,
things.
I don't see anything wrong with it. I think you're fine.
Well, if anyone that listens to this wants to chime in and you would be judging somebody, I would really like to know because these are the things that keep me up at night. So I'm very stressed. I like my sweater. It's cute.
I like it too. You know what I don't like? How I'm about as white as my wall behind me.
I
It
keep
really
telling you to get
stresses me
this
out.
oil, the tanning oil for your face, and you won't do it. Look how tan my face is.
I know, I need to. Okay, well, anyways, that's our episode, you guys. So thanks for listening. Make sure to like, rate, review, share with a friend. Follow us. Oh, I had a hiccup. So sorry. Follow us on Instagram and please write a written review. We still have yet to see some written reviews. So please, if you listen every week, I'm looking at you, Columbus, Ohio. Please leave us a written review.
Just go on there and write, I'm an Enneagram X. Take the test and just go tell us what your Enneagram is in the review. Like, give us 5 stars and say Enneagram 6. That's all I need.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, anyways, bye.
Bye.
Ah, it's not stopping.